All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Madash, and double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone, and salutations to the elect. This is the brother lawyer from Great Millstone, Miami, and I got a few headlines that I want to go over. That I came across today. Most of it has to do with the famine. Okay, for the most part, has to do with the famine. One of them has to do uh, uh, with the M to the A to the R to the K. Okay, as it relates to the famine in a particular part of the globe. All right, and of course, all these things are in line with biblical prophecy. Oftentimes we say this or that is coming, like the famine is coming. The M to the A to the R to the K is coming. You know, um, the war is coming. All these things, but really, all these things are already here in some way, shape, or form. Okay, it's just the beginning. All right, and that's why the scriptures talk about the beginning of sorrows. All right, so with all of that being said, I got the first of four headlines I do want to read. This is from RT.com. All right, this is the news section. All right, and this article is actually from 2020, so it's actually from 2 years ago, right? August 22nd, 2020, right? And the headline reads: "Famine of biblical proportions looms over humanity due to C 1984 UN food chief warns." Okay, so one thing I definitely find interesting about this headline here, okay, it says famine of biblical proportions. Okay, it doesn't say famine of Quran proportions. It doesn't say famine of Buddhist philosophy proportions. It doesn't say famine of Shinto philosophy proportions, or of famine of Confucius, or famine of the Egyptian Book of the Dead, or whatever other philosophy you want to throw out there. It says famine of biblical proportions. So that's what that communicates to me. All right, and I would say that you listeners can agree is that the powers that be, that rule over this society, they understand that the things that are taking place in the earth are coming straight from Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Okay, all right, and that it's all written and predicted in the Bible. Okay, or else they would not use the term famine of biblical proportions. All right, now the article reads, right, it says the C 1994 pandemic may lead to a calamity of epic scales. Okay, which here it is. Here we are 2 years later. Okay, and as talk of food shortages and food scarcity and famine is on the rise. Okay, one of the things being accused, all right, as being a catalyst to this, okay, a reason as to why, amongst other things such as the war in Ukraine, climate change, right, is the C 1984. Okay, so it doesn't now it's not that right now where we are. It's not a thing of may. Okay, it's a thing of is. All right. It says, with millions facing starvation worldwide, the head of the UN hunger fighting body has warned. Okay, it says all the data we have, including WFP World Food Program, forecast that the number of people experiencing malnutrition will grow by 80% by the end of the year, points to a real disaster. Okay, it says David Beasley, executive director of UN World Food Program, said. Okay, it says the rapid increase in the number of people who can't feed themselves will be just an immediate outcome of the pandemic, which caused a disruption of food growth and logistics worldwide. Why? Because they weren't able to get the products necessary to continue farming and producing all of this food. Okay, because of all the blockades and stuff like that. All right, for fear of the C 1984. Okay, and this was a worldwide event, and here we are 2 years later. All right, all this may, and it could happen. We're here. Okay, and that's what it is. That's exactly what it is, right? It says more long-term damage is bound to materialize in the years to come, which we see. All right, it says obviously social tensions will grow, migration will increase. Why? Because of course people are going to be more upset that the way of life that they're used to has been stifled because of these varying different conditions. One of them being the C 1984, okay, and its effect on food production worldwide. Okay, it says migration will increase, which that's true. People will leave, and these poorer countries that can't really sustain themselves to find better places to live. Okay, And with that comes conflict because one group of people have their own culture and way of life and their population and their needs, and you have the people who, the native population who they're moving into. Okay, the people that they're going to run into, all right, may not appreciate all of this new traffic, and there's less and less resources to go around as a result because there are more people. Okay, and there might be a clash of interests, a clash of beliefs, clash of cultures, racial tensions, all those things, right? It says conflicts will escalate and hunger will likely affect those who didn't experience it before. Okay, so there you go. So that's a whole nother issue because you have the richer nations, okay, all right, or the nations that are more well off with with all that's happening, with what happened with C-19, what happened, what's going on with the weather, what's going on with these wars and conflicts all over the globe. Okay, it's affecting these richer nations too, along with the migration and all these things. So hyperinflation, joblessness, all these things, unemployment. Okay, right. So there's gonna be a lot more tension, and they're gonna be more upset because their way of life is changing. Okay, they're used to being able to go and eat and have what they want, but there's gonna be a stifling of them being able to get their daily necessities. Okay, and that's exactly what we're seeing here 2 years after. Okay, everything I explained, everything that this man is saying is exactly what we're seeing 2 years after, man. Okay, so this prediction was right, and the powers that be are wicked, man. So they already knew that all of these things that that were going on, that is going on, were going to happen regardless. Okay, all right, but I'm gonna read a little bit more of this article. Um, Go down. It says WFP projections say Latin American nations face the most drastic change in their situation, which that's another thing too. Okay, which that's look, man, Latin America, the Caribbean, they getting hurt right now, man. And again, this is an article from 2 years ago. Okay, and you can find articles about how Latin America, the Caribbean, South America, they hurting right now. Okay, they are hurting right now because of all that's going on. Okay, they still haven't recovered from what happened 2 years ago with the C-1984. Okay, it says it says WFP projections say Latin American nations face the most dramatic change in their situation, with the number of malnourished people increasing by as much as 269%. Beasley said the same metric for countries in Eastern and Central Asia stand at 135%, and Sub-Saharan Africa through may see the number of their hungry almost double. Okay, global hunger is already high, which that they've been saying that the UN, okay, they've been saying that since 2017, 18, 19. I remember that article, Global Hunger on the Rise, man. Okay, and I did a video on that years ago, man. It's still on my channel. GMS joined unto me. Okay, they didn't take it down. It's still on there. Okay, plenty of articles came out. Global hunger, food scarcity on the rise for various different reasons, man. So this was already a problem. Okay, this was already a problem going back years ago, but because people here in the West and in these more developed countries, okay, they think, all right, we good, we able to take care of ourselves just fine, are not knowing that there's been famine sweeping Africa, famine sweeping the Middle East, malnutrition in Latin America, the Caribbean, and different parts of the globe, okay, already happening, okay, so it was already a problem. All right. But now, because of the events that have taken place over the past 2 years or so, all right, that's making the problem much, much more worse. Okay. It says, unless bold action is taken, many will die, which the scriptures tell you that. Children will suffer. The scriptures tell you that from the consequences of malnutrition for years, and the world will lose all of the progress made in fighting hunger over the past decade. Okay, he said, so, I mean, there's plenty of precepts on what he said. Oh, my goodness. All right, it says many will die. All right, this is Second Ezra chapter 16. Okay, which is crazy. Wow. All right, Second Ezra chapter 16, verse shoot. I'm just gonna go with the flow. All right, this is Second Ezra 16 and 7. It says, woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. And what shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. But for all these things, they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor always be mindful of the scourges. Okay, so these things are going to increase in the earth, man. All right, and the world's going to continue to get wicked, but they're not going to be mindful of the scourges. So they're just going to keep going on with their folly. All right, it says, "Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon the earth that they shall think themselves to be in good case, and even then evil shall grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy." Okay, so there it goes. He said many will die. Okay, many will die, and the scriptures tell you in Jeremiah, okay, all right, and many will die for hunger. The scriptures tell you in Jeremiah, deliver up their children to the famine. Those are the first ones always affected by famine, lack of food, famine, war, plague, children, old people, elderly people, and women, okay, and sickly people, okay, what the people who are already weak, okay, the weaker ones of the society, they're the ones who get taken out first, okay, the children, the old, the elderly, women, and the sickly, okay, sickly or disabled people who can't get around on their own, right? All right, but anyway, all right, Jeremiah 18 and 21, it says, "Therefore deliver up their children to the famine, and pour out their blood by the force of the sword, and let their wives be bereaved of children, and be widows, and let their men be put to death, let their young men be slain by the sword in battle." Okay, so the children are always affected first. Okay, now this is a more recent article again from RT. All right, global famine likely this year. Putin aid. Okay, it says Washington's attempt to take over Ukraine's grain may lead to a food crisis, according to the Russian official. Okay, it says the attempt by the U.S. to take over Ukraine's grain reserves may spark a humanitarian crisis in the country and lead to grain shortages globally, which this has been being talked about for months, man. Okay, Maxim uh, Oreshkin, an aide to Putin, President Vladimir Putin, said on Thursday, according to the official, a global famine could break out by this coming fall. Not could, okay, this. Look, understand the way they're speaking, okay, a global famine could. There's already a global famine happening. Okay, it's just affecting different parts of the globe differently. That's why the scriptures say what the beginning of famine, the beginning of it. All right, famines take time to really affect the society at large. Okay, to where it's noticeable by everyone. That's why the scriptures talk about these pine away for the want of the fruits of the field. Okay, and different countries are, like I said earlier, different countries, different nations are going to be affected differently in different ways at different times to different measures. Okay, the ones that are already poor and messed up, they gonna be the first ones to fold to the famine. Okay, all right. Whereas the richer nations, it's gonna take time. It's gonna take time, and then when it really pops off and becomes a big deal, that's when people gonna go crazy rioting and stuff like that. Okay, all right. So again, just reading the article, it says it is important that in the conditions, for example, of a global famine that will occur closer to autumn by the end of this year all over the world, Russia should not suffer, but be fully provided with food. Okay, Oreshkin stated, as cited by Raya Navasti. Okay, the main reason for this potential global famine, in his opinion, is the increase of the cost of wheat in the world market, which stems from Washington's irresponsible monetary policy. Until about 2020, the wheat prices on the world market were stable, but following the increased printing of the dollar, which started around July 2020, prices started rising sharply, he stated, referring to Washington's measures to curb the impact of the C-1984 pandemic on the economy. However, according to Orishkin, the Biden administration's more recent actions are likely to worsen the situation, which is already dire. In fact, what America is trying to do with Ukraine now is take out the grain reserves that Ukraine currently has in its possession. Just another action that dooms Ukraine to serious humanitarian problems, but also dooms the global community to having big problems with hunger. Why? Why? Because Ukraine is the breadbasket, they say, of the world. Okay, all right, they produce a large amount of wheat. Okay, wheat prices have shot up more than 60% this year, with the latest spike resulting from supply disruptions caused by the conflict in Ukraine and Western sanctions against Moscow The two countries account for almost a third of the world's wheat exports, man. And people eat bread, pasta, a lot of wheat. Wheat is important. Okay, all right. Okay, it says the situation was further exacerbated after major grain suppliers, Russia, Kazakhstan, and India, largely banned exports to protect their domestic food supplies. Okay, following the news from New Delhi, the price of wheat further rose by 5.9% on Monday to reach an all-time high of 12.68 per bushel on the Chicago Commodities Exchange before correcting slightly in the following days. European market, the price reached a historic high of around 461 per ton. Okay, so the prices of these grains have increased. Okay, as a result of the war, the different sanctions. Okay, all right. So yes, a famine of biblical proportions is on the rise. Okay. All right. It's already here. Okay. This is Matthew chapter 24, verse 3. It says, "And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world?" And it says, "And Yahushua answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Hamashiach, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars," which they talked about the wars. We see that happening. All right, "See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines." Okay, famines. "And pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows." So it's only going to get worse, man. Okay, all right, it's only going to get worse. All right, as this year draws closer and closer to summer, fall, winter, and into the end of this year, we gonna see we gonna see how this world really looks, man. All right, and all of that's happened, man. Which the scriptures prophesy a famine. All right. Actually, famines. All right, but these famines are leading. Okay, are a tool leading. A tool of the Most High leading to the M to the A to the R to the K. Okay, and this is from FBN, globalnews.com. Iran's Raisi cuts back on bread subsidies, and this was published this month on the 10th of the month. Okay, all right. It says Iranian President Ebrahim Raisi has announced plans to cut back back bread subsidies as wheat prices soar globally, and Tehran tries to steer an economy hard hit by U.S. sanctions on oil exports. Okay, so those subsidy programs that help people get food, people who are disadvantaged, they need extra help to get food. Okay, he's trying to cut those back to help steer his economy in a better path because they're being sanctioned by the United States and it's hurting them. Okay, it says the government will offer citizens digital coupons that will allow them to access a limited amount of bread at subsidized prices. And you see, so even though they're going to take the subsidies away, they're going to they're going to hand certain citizens digital coupons that allow them to receive the bread at subsidized prices. So, it comes with its enticement. Okay, all right, they're going to be able to get this cheaper bread if they take the digital coupon, and that's really the point I'm getting at. All right, because you already know what that's leading to. Okay, all right, and these things happen all over the globe. These are really test runs. All right, that the elite, I believe the elite have a part in it. Okay, testing it on these different countries so that they know how people react to it. They see how people react to it, and then so when they finally bring it here to the U.S., okay, all right, and they know how people are going to react, and then the rest of the world's going to follow. Okay, so this is beautiful. All right, it says while the rest will be available at market prices, the bread scheme will come into force in about 2 months. Okay, so we're in May, June, July. So by July, right? All right, it says the scheme will later include other goods such as chicken, cheese, and vegetable oil. Clearly, officials have said so. This is not just going to be a one-time thing for a specific type of good. No, this is going to spread out. The other things are going to come under the umbrella of this digital coupon, right? Air quotes digital coupon, right? It says in a live televised interview on Monday night, Ricey extolled the benefits of reforming a subsidy scheme that covers everything from oil to bread, cost up to 100 BN a year, and that many cash-strapped like Iranians have come to rely on. All right, so they know people have relied on this for many years. Okay, today's subsidies are being wasted, and people are witness to corruption and discrimination in this regard. How can we let this continue? Rice said, people and the elites urge us to reform the economy, and we are determined to do so. But that's really what I wanted to the part about the digital coupons is the part I really wanted to focus on because that's leading to the chip. Okay, I'm sorry, it came out. Okay, but that's where we're at. Okay, we're at the point where all roads are leading to the M to the A to the R to the K, man. Okay, the C to the H to the I to the P, and I just want to get this in Revelation real quick. Let's go down to Revelation. All right, chapter 13, verse 16, it says, "And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a M to the A to the R to the K, a charagma, in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the charagma, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name." Okay, and here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 600 three score and six. Okay, all right, so we know when we see these types of things take place in the earth that it's all leading to, all right, that Revelation 13, 16 through 18, man. That's what it's coming down to, man. And they understand that if you can control food, all right, the powers that be understand that if you can control food, you can control people. All right. All of these scarcities for food, all right, it's gonna lead to rationing. All right, and then it comes down to, all right, well, if it's leading to rationing, how do you determine who gets what? Okay, and how much is being given out to them? How do you keep track of that? How do you know that? Okay, and the best way, all right, is digitally. Okay, and that's why this is being rolled out in Iran. Okay, all right, so yeah, hey, the prophecies are speaking. All right, I do want to. Matter of fact, I gotta read this next headline too because this is this definitely stood out. All right, so this is from gbnews.uk. All right, it says Jeremy Clarkson issues cannibalism warning over food shortages. It makes people eat their neighbors. Okay, now Jeremy Clarkson is, I want to say he's like a news broadcaster, if I'm correct. Okay, all right, and this is what he said. Okay, all right, this article is from Monday, May 16th, 2022. 2022. All right, it says Jeremy Clarkson has warned that food shortages will mean people will eat their neighbors. All right, the Russian invasion of Ukraine has led to a shortage of some food products and therefore has caused a rise in price of such items. Clarkson said farmers have already began producing less and amid the ongoing rise in cost of some vital items. Now, that line right there, okay, all right, farmers have already begun producing less. That takes me to Second Ezra chapter 15. Okay, all right, verse 5. It says, "Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world: sword, famine, death, and destruction." Which we see the sword, the war, people dying, all types of stuff, murders increasing, famine that's happening, death and destruction. For wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. Which we know that we see plenty of that going on in various different ways. It says, "Therefore saith the Lord, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they have profanely committed. Neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually." Right now, when you jump down to verse 13, it says, "They that till the ground shall mourn, for their seed shall fail through the blasting and hail and the fear and with a fearful constellation." All right, so they that till the ground are farmers. Okay, it says their seed shall fail through blasting, through hail, and with a fearful constellation. All right, part of that blasting, okay, all right, could be a blasting of bullets and missiles and war machines. Okay, all right, and also blasting from weather, blasts of hot air, cold air, hail, wind storms, rainstorms, flash floodings. All right, solar activity, heightened solar activity. All right, but you see how, again, everything that's being said, All right, by these people, that by these news analysts, articles, everything, it's all in the Bible, man. Okay, that's why the scriptures say none shall want her mate. All right, the words are faithful and true, like he told Ezra in Second Ezra the 15th chapter, man. Okay, and eventually he's right. People will eat their neighbors, man. Okay, that's what's going to go down. It's gonna erupt into civil unrest. Okay, all right. Um, it says such. I'm sorry. It says such items, including fertilizer, as well as other costs relating to farming. He said some have already decided to fallow, which when you go to the word fallow, you gotta get that word fallow because that stood out to me too. All right, it says of farmland plowed or harrowed, but left unsown. The sown places shall appear unsown, right, for a period in order to restore its fertility as part of a crop rotation or to avoid surplus production. Okay, they don't want to produce more than they can handle. All right, because of the price of everything going up, it's becoming too hard for them to do. Okay, so they're fallowing their fields next year and grow nothing at all, man. Sown places appearing unsown, man. Cut off the sower from Babylon. This is what's happening, man. Okay, all these things are in the Bible. Okay, I'm quoting these scriptures, but matter of fact, let me just get it. All right, let me just get it. Matter of fact, I was already I was already in the King James 1611. Let me see here. Second Ezra chapter 6 verse 22. All right, it says, and suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. Okay, they're fallowing their fields, they're leaving it unsown. Okay, it says, the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. Okay, all right, it says back at the article, as the cost of living continues to bite, millions are left scrambling to save as much money as possible in order to pay for essential bills. But the former Top Gear presenter, who has previously documented his rural life in Oxfordshire, believes that food is more important to people than other necessities such as heating and clothing. He told Amazon Prime people can live without heat, clothing, or even sex, but they cannot live without food. Hunger makes people eat their neighbors, man. Okay, Jeremiah 19:9, it says, and I will cause them to eat the flesh of their sons and the flesh of their daughters, and they shall eat everyone the flesh of his friend, his neighbor, in the siege and straightness were with their enemies, and they that seek their lives shall straighten them, man. Look at that, man. Okay, all right, and that's what's being set up, man. A siege, straightness, man, the stress of nations. Okay, so it's gonna lead to cannibalism. So he's right, man. Okay, he's right. All right, okay, all right. Which, hey, shoot. I'm gonna close out with this, man. Revelation chapter 6, verse 5. It says, and when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, which is this is what they call the four horsemen of the apocalypse, right? Okay. It says, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand, scales. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, which a penny, the denarius, represents a day's worth of work. Okay, and three measures of barley for a penny. And see thou hurt not the oil and the wine, which the oil and the wine represent this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, because the scriptures describe this truth, all right, the Holy Spirit as oil, all right, and wine. Okay, by come here by wine without money and without price. Okay, King David said, um, the Lord anointeth my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Okay, all right. First John talks about the unction that we have, that anointing of the Holy Spirit, which is likened unto the oil that the high priests were anointed with, and we know all things. Okay. Now, when you go to the NLT, okay, which it breaks it down, all right, a little better. It says, Same verse, Revelation 6:6. It says, "And I heard a voice from among the four living beings saying, a loaf of bread or three loaves of barley will cost a day's pay." Okay, and don't waste the olive oil in the wine. Okay, so it's gonna take a day's pay just to get a loaf of bread and three loaves of barley, man. All right, which the word penny in the Greek, moving a little fast. Strong's G 1220. All right, and it's denarion. Okay, all right. It says denarius count containing 10, a Roman silver coin in New Testament time. It took its name from it being equal to 10 asses, a number after 217 BC, increased by 16, about 3.898 grams or 0.1375 ounces. It was the principal silver coin of the Roman Empire. From the parable of the laborers in the vineyard, it would seem that a denarius was then the ordinary pay for a day's wages. Okay, so it's going to take a day's work of worth, a day's worth of work. Okay, I'm sorry, a day's worth of work just to get you three loaves of bread. Okay, a loaf of bread or three measures or three loaves of barley. You don't have to work a day's worth of pay, man, just to get it, which means that's going into inflation. Okay, all right, and why is that happening? Why that's going into rationing? Why is that happening? Okay, because famine is on the way, man. Famine is, I ain't gonna say on the way. Famine is here, man. Okay, it's here. Okay, so yeah. I know this was a little all over the place, man. It's just, I found these articles, man, and it's like everything is hitting home runs, man. So hey, call Haloyim La Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rachakwadash, a double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone, and a salutations to the elect. Hey, let's keep fighting, keep pushing, man. It's here, it's happening. Okay, Shalom.